showroom, there's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet's truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of the filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as JAGS PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with JAGS PAL.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Connecticut reverse osmosis system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
In the club tonight, we have a bunch of winners once again. What is this madness? The Jaguars are off to a 3-1 start after not a 21-21. Man, I knew I'd butcher that. We'll make sure we fix it. A 26-21 victory over the San Francisco 49ers out in San Fran. Their first victory over the Niners, get this, in 20 years. James Coleman is going to join us in the club. We're excited to have you in it too. We've got exclusive footage from boots on the ground in San Francisco, in Santa Clara, I guess is technically what it's called. Leave a comment, leave a question. Let's have some fun tonight, folks. Welcome into a Sunday night post-game edition of Club 904. Pay no attention to that error underneath your screen. I'll make sure that gets fixed. Your Jacksonville Jaguars winners 26-21 over the San Francisco 49ers. Mia O'Brien, excited to be hanging out with you here live on this Week 4 Sunday night. The club is officially open. And that means we've got to bring in our first guest. Let's bring him into the club, and I'm going to avoid the god-awful mistake that I've already made, James Coleman, just 1 minute into the program. I'll make sure while you're blabbing away and giving us a breakdown and answering questions. And is that pumpkin spice? No, that's pizza. I think so.
No, it's pizza.
It's pizza, not pumpkin spice.
Pizza.
As we're breaking down this Jaguars 5-point victory over the San Francisco 49ers, I'll make sure we get the right scoreboard. Don't worry, folks. We want to see your comments, your questions. Excited to hang out with you guys and dive into yet another Jaguars victory, James. The first 3-1 start since 2018, just the second since 2007. You tweeted it. We talked about it on Thursday's show. Walk the folks through. Why did the Jaguars win this game in San Francisco tonight?
They lined it up individually, line by line, and they won their position battles. Thank God for Brock Purdy, who is the best player on the Jacksonville Jaguars today. All jokes aside, good D and a lot of top will win you a lot of football games. And that's what the Jags focused on. The score isn't indicative of what it was. The Jags were it was scary because us as Jag fans, we're fatalistic. And rightfully so. We've seen 18 seconds away from being 4-0. I mean, we've seen the leads leave. You get that many turnovers in the game, it should be a blowout. That being said, it takes it's a team, it's an ultimate team sport. Together they were able to get the win. And I love the fact that they're ready to scrap. I love a coach that kind of embodies the city. We're just like here, man. When you think of the state of Florida, you think of Miami. When you think of the state of Florida, Tampa and Mickey Mouse are up there. Not Tampa and Orlando, a.k.a. Mickey Mouse, are there. Tallahassee's where the capital comes. Jacksonville is just kind of like, we're over here. We have sort of a beach, and we have our own identity over here, and we're ready to scrap. And I like the fact that I saw Liam go over to Saleh and say, hey, man, hey, you're not going – you can to quote Raymond Reddington, you can attack a man's business, but you can't attack a man's character. And that man, and I love that about our coach.
Let me get the technical difficulties all sorted out officially, James. There we go. Now we got it going, and there we are. Perfect. Boom. See, just like that. I had the wrong score, and I still have the wrong score. Now we have the correct score. There we go. The club is open on a Sunday evening here on Club 904, syndicated on the Action Sports Jacks Network. As luck would have it, not only, James, do we have sound from Liam Coen post-game following those comments, and that's probably the best place to start because I know that's why so many of you are in the club with us on YouTube, X, Twitch, wherever you're listening to tonight. We also officially have Zapruder footage from our friends at Action Sports Jacks from Boots on the Ground. Let's lay the scene first, chronological order of what we saw. And so let me switch the screen just once more, folks. Let me remove this. James, are you ready? So this is Liam Coen with regards to his comments to Robert Saleh following this game.
It was not a big deal. Just keep that between us.
One more on that one.
No, I'm going to keep that between us.
So you didn't
No, just going to keep that between us right now. That's it.
So that's Liam Coen. Here is Kyle Shanahan.
Liam and Saleh were exchanging words. Are you surprised that, I assume over sign stealing, are you surprised that Coen maybe wasn't thrilled about that?
No, try to clear it up, but I didn't see what happened, so I'm not sure. Don't think you should be that sensitive about it, but it is what it is. Not too worried about it.
Don't be too sensitive about it, James. While I attempt to get the Zapruder footage that our friend Marcel Robinson just posted to the Action Sports Jack social channels up and running, what do you make of that comment from the San Francisco 49ers head coach?
Was he saying who was sensitive? I'm trying to figure out.
He's saying that Liam is sensitive.
So Liam went to Rob.
Yes.
Or did Rob come? Well, nah. You know what? Because I don't know who initially started what. I only saw the clip.
Right.
But post game. But here's what I'll say. I come from, and then it's the beautiful thing about the sport. I actually read something. I'm a history guy. Did you know that allegedly the game of football was really invented, the rules that we have, by the Ivy Leagues to simulate war, to kind of prevent that, to get that aggression now. We just took it in the South and we just said, this is the next best thing to war. So, that's why we love it so much. It's the next best thing to fighting. How I got put on the football was it's a legalized street fight. James, you can go fight people.
Oh, my bad.
Oh,
that's on me, James. That's on me. That's on me. No, I wasn't trying to kick you out. I was trying to get you back in on a solo shot. But we're going to give up on technology tonight. I am going to try to get that video. But yeah, the technology is not working out tonight. But continue. Yes, because I love this road you're going down, because I do think that speaks to the war, the physicality that is at the root of the sport of football. Is that not what Liam Coen, Tony Baselli, and James Gladstone have said they were going
changing the culture? It's Jacksonville. One of the nicknames is the Bangum. I won't say the other ones, but the Bangum is one of them. And a lot of people, these are the two strongest muscles in this new age. And the second one is your mandibles. So people do a lot of this and a lot of that. And you can tell that a lot of people ain't had a lot of this put to a lot of that. So there's this thing called on site. And that doesn't necessarily mean I got to whoop. We got it. But when I see you, we're going to have words, and I want to know if that energy is the same. And I like Liam. I like the king on not Ice Age. The king in Madagascar came up out of him and said, when I see you, it's on sight.
In case you missed this, folks, James had a realization. I think it was during training camp when he gives me a phone call. I'm literally walking into practice. He was not at practice that day. He was coming the next day. And he goes, Mia, I figured it out. I figured out who Liam Cohen's doppelganger is. And I said, who, James? And who did you say it was?
It's the king from Madagascar, the little
King Julian, everyone from
Madagascar. King Julian. It was really bothering me. I couldn't put my finger on it. I was like, I've seen him before. I know him. He's been around my whole life. But he went up and said, you don't become the king on accident. So you got to come and step to everybody. So he said that was probably their first time interacting with. The combine is an inappropriate time when you're a new coach. He got interviews. He got to do little secret meetings. He got to do all this other stuff. Right here on the field of play after the game, he made up in his mind. It was on his notes, his to-do list, and said, we're going to get Travis Etienne involved in the running game. We're going to try to limit Trevor's screw-ups to 5. If we get under 5, we're going to win.
Did we get it under 5, James?
I think we were under 5. It was 10
minutes to set the scene, but did we get that under 5?
It was under 5. It was under 5. It was under 5.
All right,
we're gonna get Foye, and I want the world to realize why Devin Lloyd is pretty good and he's pretty fast. So they got all these things together, and then when I see Rob, I got to let him know how I feel about him, and he let him know how he felt about him.
Okay, so King David in the YouTube comments says, Mia, just stop trying to hit us with some technology attempts to give you guys interface. But we're going to try one more. I'm going to try to share my screen. Let's see if can I do that share screen? Oh, boy. We're going to try this. Here we go. Nope. Okay, that's too much going on. Okay, point being, head on over to the Action Sports Jax Twitter account right now, folks, and you could see that Marcel Robinson has posted it. It's not letting me download it right now for StreamYard or share my screen, but he has posted the Zapruder film, if you may, of what Liam Coen and Robert Saleh had to say to each other after this game. The quote that they derived from Liam Coen was, "Keep your name out of my mouth." I was told by some boots on the ground that the phrase "take your ass back home" was also uttered. So again, Marcel Robinson, shout out to the boys at Action Sports Jax. They were the only local Jacksonville TV station there. I don't know if any San Francisco outlets have this footage, but go check it out right now at Action Sports Jax because, are you watching it right now, James? Are you listening to it?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. You're here for it?
Mm-hmm.
I knew that's where we had to start. I know we want to talk about the show or about the game, because that's the point of this show. But I knew that a lot of you wanted us to lead with the very latest we're hearing there. And as luck would have it, Marcel posted that video just as we came on the air at 9:04 p.m. So what say you, James, before we actually get to the real game itself?
To quote a good friend of mine, Chad Scott, never bury the lead. And that's, you just don't like, if that's I didn't know the game ended like that until like about 30 minutes ago, and I'm seeing it, and everybody's like, what's your opinion? I'm like, Liam, I want to hug him. Like, Liam's making, winning cures all. but Liam's making me like him.
Right.
And then Camp making me like him too, because he came in with that heavy jersey. Like, I'm like, dog, some of that bravado is not real, and we were getting whooped. And now I'm kind of, I might be on board. These guys might be tougher than what I thought. I like that.
The fact that Mark Sanchez referred to Anthony Campanelli as straight out of central casting for The Sopranos, I didn't know if you were allowed to say that on TV in 2025, but hey, listen, my people of New Jersey love people like Anthony Campanelli. We appreciate and we support the promotion of our brand. And he is not only a shining example of that, but James, and let's get to the actual nitty gritty of while we're here, he's a great example of what a modern NFL coach is, as is Liam Coen. I reported this on the Mo Bryan NFL Notebook, which of course you guys can subscribe to right now. We'll have the link at the bottom scrolling through during the next commercial break. You also can check it out on my Twitter page. I reported this on Friday. This idea of the players in that locker room wanting their coach, wanting their DC to hang out with them more, not as their friend, but because they truly enjoy being around these two gentlemen in particular, the head coach and the defense coordinator, because they love the sport of football. But more than that, I had a player tell me how Wednesday night, he's sitting at home, watching on the iPad, getting ready for the game, and he sees Campanelli's name pop up on his phone. And of course, he's triggered because he thinks, oh no, am I in trouble? And it was simply Camp checking in to say, hey, want to see how, the game plan's coming along for you. Any questions, let me know. Just wanted to check in on you, brother.
Yeah, it's a paradigm shift. 90s out from what was it? A-type personalities. You got to do this, come in early, do all of these. And right around a certain time, and maybe they call it the new age things, it became more like a servant leadership, a guy that wants to go into battle with you. I can have a beer. We still understand the laws when we're in this thing, but I think that this guy is could come in and fight with me. Pete Carroll offensively did this, talking to people who were in that Seattle Seahawks locker room back in the day. He'll be in there playing ping pong with you, but when it was time to do business, it's time to do business. Don't get lost in the fact that he's cool and think that he didn't get to this position by not being professional. And I think that says a lot to him. He's not he's not 65. He ain't like that. He's around their age, is closer to it, but he also keeps the professionalism. And I think sometimes if you know somebody cares, then you care what they know, and they're able maybe to reach you in a different manner. Because I also think from a coaching perspective, coaches have to be shrinks. I got to know what makes you tick. Some guys want to be great. Some guys just don't want to go back to the projects or to the apartments. Some guys just want girls. And they all have a skill set, though. So if I know what buttons to be able to push to get the best out of you, that's how I become a best coach. It's not always about X's and O's. It's about getting the Jimmys and Joes to become the X's and O's. And that's how you create championship teams.
So let's run through some of the stats from this 26-21 victory. Thanks to the 900, nearly 1,000 of you hanging out with us on all of the different channels of the Action Sports Jax 24/7 channel, as well as my personal Twitter account. For your Jacksonville Jaguars, Tyson Campbell finished as the leading tackler. We'll start on defense since Anthony Campanelli's team, 4 turnovers forced today. They have at least 3 in each of their 4 games of this new regime. Tyson Campbell, 9 tackles in this game to lead the team in that category. But let's get to some of the other heavy hitters that we've already referenced. Eric Armstead forced a fumble. Dewey Wingard recovered a fumble. Foye Oluokun forced a fumble, recovered another. Travis Hunter did fumble the ball, but that was recovered. So we're in the clear there. Thank you to LaQuint Allen. Dennis Gardick also forced a fumble. Devin Lloyd, 8 tackles, 2 interceptions. I probably should have led with him. A tackle for loss, pass deflected. I'm just going through statistically the numbers. And for you, James, what defensive player was at the core of this 5-point victory?
The guy that you're really not able to speak on because he didn't really log, but if you watched, you saw the man with 2 last names. And I always joke people, I don't trust any man with 2 last names because they can't commit. But this man, Josh Hines Allen, earned the right for me to be able to say it's both of them. Like, he was coming off the edge, creating havoc, and really forcing Brock Purdy to be uncomfortable, which Brock Purdy did a great job of moving the pocket. But between Eric Armstead, you also had Trayvon, you had a bunch of other guys collapse in the pocket, made him throw the ball not errantly. Like, he was actually very inaccurate. He's normally a lot better than that. So I think Josh Allen being able to bring a bunch of pressure allowed Foye, allowed Devin, allowed other guys to be able to be better. And that's really what it comes down to. The Jags front seven has to carry the back half of the defense. And they did a really, really good job. It just didn't show up in sacks, but it showed up in everything else.
James, my biggest question, and then we'll get to some of our listeners' questions before we keep the show moving and we flip over to the offensive side of the ball. My biggest question is this structure sustainable? Not the zone scheme of Anthony Campanile, not the offensive operation of Liam Coen. Is this idea of if the defense doesn't get 3 takeaways and set you up with great field possession, let alone the idea of them averaging 3 takeaways per game, is that sustainable for an entire calendar year of a football season?
No, somebody's going to carve him up. Purdy had a lot of near misses. Like, it's ironic. The funny, and I don't know what the 49ers fan base is or if they say a lot of different things. One of the topics that's always talked about is wide receivers dropping Trevor Lawrence's ball. Well, Brock Purdy had a lot of guys. He threw a lot of hospital balls today. And a lot of guys dropped those balls. And you see wide receivers are very normal. One guy took a nice kidney shot toward the end there that was really solid. I think he scored a touchdown, but he paid for it. I think the middle of that defense is going to be picked on because there were some things that I saw. A few of the catches I saw Devin Lloyd get sucked up and then not back and lose the route. And you have to have a feel for what the routes are doing in that zone concept while you're reading the quarterback's eyes. That becomes dangerous eventually when you find a guy that can carve you up. And particularly, there's a young man that's going to be here on Monday, a couple Mondays from now, that really makes a living being able to make all the different throws on the run, which is what we're going to try to do, like we did with Brock Purdy. So also getting a couple times I got to get beat deep, and that running back coming out of the backfield. There are teams that have complete rosters that aren't battling injuries that we're going to eventually see. So they've got to clean some things up. But 2017, it reminded me a lot of the Jacksonville team. The difference was they didn't have the turnovers because they were actually getting to the quarterback in some of those games. Now you have the quarterbacks are getting rid of the ball, creating the turnovers. Now, what has to happen better, and I know we're going to get to the offense, they've got to play better complementary football. There's no way a game with that many turnovers should be a 5-point and a special teams touchdown, almost 2. That game should not have been as close.
Hef in the YouTube comment says they're running more traditional cover 2 and not Tampa right now. James, in terms of maybe changing things up as the season goes, evolving that defense, in the words of Liam Coen, as the season goes, Travis Hunter goes, because I know we've also had plenty of questions about why the number 2 overall pick played just 9 snaps in this game on the defensive side of the ball, 37 on the offensive side of the ball. Liam Coen telling reporters post-game that was a personal decision, something that they were keeping in-house for right now. Do you think this defensive scheme evolves as the season goes on?
I mean, it does. It's just about where he's needed. I mean, you didn't have the guy you just paid a bunch of money from Washington. He's hurt. You have some guys banged up. You needed a playmaker, and that's why he played more offense. I mean, I think it's
you
a
think it's just
fantasy
because
land.
De'Ami Brown was out, that's the reason?
Yeah, I mean, when you find out another guy who can replace De'Ami, Parker Washington played very well, but you got to have more bodies. It's only like just being frank, he's not great. He's not a great tackler. He's not a guy. He's a guy that you just want covering. So, and then even then he got picked on that time. So he'll get better as he gets more reps and the game slows down. So the NFL game is a lot faster than anything that you've done. The hashes are closer together. Things happen a lot faster than what you're used to when you play in the college game. But I think he'll be fine. But I do think that, the cover 2, cover 3, there was a bunch of different zone concepts. They did have man. I believe they got an interception on one of those those times when they switched it up. It's not really that. It's not that the zone scheme can't work. They can't. If you're bringing pressure, you have to get home. You cannot let the minute a quarterback scrambles out and he's not just running and his eyes are downfield, he's looking for somebody, and the scramble drill is just dangerous against all kind of coverages. And I think that's kind of just where they're at. But maybe they'll get better as they get more cohesion. But I do know if I'm attacking the Jags and I can have a quarterback that can move, safeties is really where our safeties are great men. Great guy, maybe phenomenal fathers. They're just not all pros or Pro Bowl type guys. It's just not what they are. Everybody has a weakness.
But they have been in the right position for the most part. And obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Eric Murray with a neck injury, he exited this game. I do want to note on the defensive side of the ball, before we go to the offensive side, Trayvon Walker was ruled out of this game with a wrist injury. Last question on the defensive side of the ball, James, before we get to the offense. Kevin, my fiance, said to me mid-game when I said, why don't they just wrap up Trayvon's wrist and put him back into the game? He said that you can't apply a club mid-game because it is too arduous of a process. Have you ever
It's not
experienced
just that,
that?
they have to check it.
Right.
Because it's technically a weapon. As a guy who's worn one before.
Okay. And that's why I asked you. I think that's
yeah,
perfect that we have you here to give us that take.
It's
as
a
former
cast.
Florida State
So
football.
so they have to actually, a cast has to actually get made. So I broke my hand my sophomore year. And I had 5 games left, but they made the cast, and what they do is they could saw it to where I could take the cast off and I put it back on, and then they could tape it up. But again, it's a little bit of a process when it comes to that. But and it just, if it hurt, I'm gonna put you in game. If it hurts during a game, that's he's in pain right now. Because I literally, like, when I broke my hand, I was just like, "Ow, wow, that ain't good." Because you don't really feel anything. Your
Right,
fight
and
or
that's what
flight
he
is
said.
picked
The
up.
report from the sideline reporter Christina Pink was that he just felt something in his wrist and went to the sideline.
When you feel it, you're like, "Oh, that ain't good. Something's gonna be. This is not gonna feel good, and I'm not gonna want to travel back cross country with this bad boy." So you don't know what, and they may have X-rayed it. Because most of these facilities have not the sexy, the Mac Daddy machines, but they have something that's good enough for them to be able to get a determination right then. So they want to probably let that swelling come down, look to see what it is. Is it broken? It's also, this is me getting scientific, very little blood flow that goes into the wrist area. So it takes a little bit longer to heal up. Is it something that we can maybe just patch up and he just got to grit through it? Or is it something that's going to be detrimental to his career down the road? Because you got to remember, he is an investment. He's a guy that I believe they picked a 5th-year option up on, correct?
Yeah,
so we want to make sure we're able to get that and he's able to make money long into his career. But we definitely need his presence moving forward here. And luckily we have an extra day to make sure that he's okay, to see what we can do on Monday night.
So for everyone who was looking for the scientific take on Trayvon Walker, what potentially could have been the issue with his wrist, and again, we'll find out hopefully more tomorrow when Liam Coen speaks at the podium, when the team returns to Jacksonville, and hopefully more testing gets done. And hopefully we see Trayvon Walker Monday night next week against the Kansas City Chiefs. To the offense we go. As James has already documented, 5 brain farts. Is that what we call the stat for Trevor Lawrence?
That'd be a good. That's a good one. That's very that's family friendly. We'll go with that.
Okay, so his official stat line: 21 of 31 for 174 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions, 1 that was negated by penalty. That's a QBR of 92.7, and those 5 brain farts. He also rushed for 7 yards on 7 carries. On the other side, Brock Purdy, 22 of 38 for 309 yards, and 8.1 yard per completion average, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 picks, was sacked once. Let's just start with the 2 quarterbacks, then we'll go into the offensive operation for the Jaguars, James. Brock Purdy, Trevor Lawrence. If you looked at their stats at halftime, the stats I just rattled off did not tell the whole story. Trevor Lawrence had a QBR that was above average from most quarterbacks and what the average was from the 2024 season. His EPA was, quite frankly, as high as it's ever been in his career. He had a 0.45 EPA per play. He had a 7.3 ADOT, that's average depth of throw, which obviously comparatively to the 5.6 yards per completion he finished with, pretty darn good. And he completed 78.9% of his passes in the first half. And as we know, the second half did not look nearly as shining because of those brain farts. What do you make of those 2 signal callers on Sunday?
Well, I mean, it's the reason why. Well, one guy really earned his check. One guy has all of the talent in the world and all the sexy reasons why you want to give him a check, but he just probably is more like the guy who earned his check, and the guy who earned his check probably has more ceiling than what a lot of us gave him credit for. So Brock Purdy probably has more of the measurables of Trevor than we want to admit, and we probably need to make Trevor a lot more like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, again, people put this label and they think it's bad, but it's not. Nothing wrong with a game manager. The Jags need a 1980s basketball point guard. Distribute the ball to the playmakers and shoot and knock down the three when you have to. Get the first. That means use your legs. Get the first down when you need to. Make the big pass. But most passes in the NFL are 5 yards and under. So we don't really need you to be as big of a deep ball thrower as we need you to be. Complete the ball and continue to keep us in front of the chains. And again, it tries to prevent us from having those dumb things. Going back to 2017, one of our favorite years, Jacksonville, right? Me and Denny, my old radio partner, we had this saying,
Denny.
You have to put a governor on Blake Bortles. And what the governor was, we don't want Blake throwing over 25 passes. Once he starts throwing over 25 passes, man, bad things happen. And if you go back and if you want to go do some fun research, go look how many games we lost and how many games we won with Blake staying under a certain amount. It doesn't matter the yards. We just need to make sure he's there and you establish the run. Trevor, again, regardless of how you feel about Trevor, this is not an indictment saying that Trevor doesn't deserve to be in the league. Does people drop a lot of passes because they suck, or does Trevor throw an uncatchable ball? Early in the game, you saw Parker Washington. He also does not, I'm sorry, I have to say this, he does not play by motherfucker ball. You throw the ball with his less motherfuckers at, and that always is. So he threw it a lot of times. A lot of his incompletions, he was trying to force it. Parker Washington saw one early. And then really when I started seeing things kind of go back to, hold up, this isn't what we want. You threw a completion, and I wish the running back, I think it was ETN, had more wherewithal to just bat it down. You throw it, you don't have a timeout. It's 15 seconds left. You have
this is on the final drive before the half.
Final drive, yeah. You have an opportunity to end the drive with points, and you throw it in the middle of the field. At a certain point, and Mark Sanchez did say, bro, this is year 5. It's okay to be critical of Trevor in year 5 with him signing a massive contract. There are certain things that he should no longer be doing, even the slide, like later on, like in the game. So that's why I said I think he was under 5. I just listed 2. You slide out of bounds. Okay, you started to give yourself up just before the sideline, but you should have been slid. Now, the tight end showed you the next play exactly how it's supposed to be done. But it's things that I should not have to be if you can't understand those things, I can only imagine what next level things you don't understand. And that's kind of me being a football guy saying like, hey, man, there are some things that should be basic that you don't know. So we need to go back and maybe pull back. That's why I kind of don't – Doug lost games. But I kind of understand Doug's frustration at times, thinking that he had maybe a guy that was more advanced than what he has. But that's where Liam comes in. He's obviously done a great job of tailoring his offense to the strengths and weaknesses of all the quarterbacks that he's had.
Right. And I keep saying it, and I said it to somebody again tonight, so it bears meriting again on this podcast, on this Club 904 postgame podcast. The reality is that Trevor Lawrence is not Baker Mayfield in the 1 year in Tampa that he spent with Liam Coen. The better comp that I can give you, which would be great, would be an amazing comparison if this is what the prophecy that is foretold ends up being. Kyle Shanahan arrives in Atlanta. Matt Ryan has some pelts on the wall when Kyle gets there in 2016. They butt heads because Kyle Shanahan asks Matt Ryan to completely rebuild his approach, tying his progressions to his footwork, and Matt Ryan doesn't want to have it. They butt heads. They go 7-8 and 1, whatever it was, because you played 16 games back then. I can't do math. 7-8 and 1. And the next year they went to the Super Bowl and he won the MVP award. So that's what I look at this as. I look at this as a long-term play, and I know Liam Coen does as well. And so as opposed to fixating on, my goodness, look at what he did for Baker in 1 year's time, you forget, folks, that Baker Mayfield had Dave Canales the year prior, who, while not Liam Coen, and while he was allergic to running the football, he certainly reestablished that offensive identity and Baker's confidence in Tampa Town. Liam Coen also had Baker Mayfield for a stretch run at the end of, yes, a failed 2022 season with the Rams, but they had chemistry and previous work experience together. And so I think it's important to say this is a long-term play, and they both understand that there is a learning curve, and we are all going to have to suffer through the brain farts for now. But the hope is that come the second half of this season, come 2026, you won't have nearly as many brain farts as you did on this Sunday night with a victory over the San Francisco 49ers. Real quick, James, while we have the FSU fullback of Den Media in the house, run game. You gave the point about the governor from you and Denny, this idea of maybe if you go over 40 passes for Blake Bortles or Trevor Lawrence, that's where you're in the danger zone. He threw 31 passes today. The Jaguars ran it 32 times. You take Trevor's 7 runs. I know a couple of them were designed, and obviously more passes than runs. I know it's something that I was struggling with, but at the same time, the fact that the Niners had 6 drops and the Jags, I think, had 1, maybe, possibly, that was enough of a development on the receiving side for me to say, okay, fine, you do trust your receivers. They're making plays. They're not dropping the ball. Although your running backs, let's just double check this. Oh, that's right. They averaged almost 5 yards a carry. Travis Etienne averaged 6.5 yards per carry. Yikes.
Feed the ball. Feed the beast. But I like that balance. That's balance. What you want to do is be as balanced as possible. I'm not suggesting that if you get 65 plays, it needs to be 40 rushes, 25 passes. It just needs to be something to where we can keep the mistakes down. And if you're balanced, everything stays on the table. Play action, bootlegs, all these different things. When you're just pass heavy, like you can't run play action if you don't run. And when you're doing 5 yards per carry, that allows a lot of different things to go that way, especially when most NFL games are designed to be one score. And this was a one-score game, even though the turnovers should suggest it should have been more of a blowout. It is what it is. We need to be on the right side of these things this year more so than not. And I'm with you. I do believe they keep stacking wins. By the second half, the second half of the season, they should be a much better and much more improved team as the plays, the idea of what they're trying to do sets in. So there's a lot to be not negative, but critical on. But there's a lot more to still be positive because at the end of the day, you're 18 seconds away from being 4-0. You're 3-1, and nobody would have believed that you would have been in that position because you damn sure weren't that way last year. So kudos to the guys. Now, enjoy this win for today and tomorrow. Just know, well, actually, I guess Tuesday technically is their day off. Make sure when you come in on Wednesday, everybody's prepared to get ready for Monday Night Football against a team that's used to winning.
For that man, Patrick Mahomes, who we alluded to earlier, that could be appetized at the sight of the Jaguars' safety play, at the sight of maybe some banged up defensive linemen, but that is a story for another podcast. James, I only asked you for 15 minutes, and here we are. It's 9:37. We've got to hit a break. Appreciate you hopping on Club 904 for a second time in 1 week's time. And, of course, we will have you on again very, very soon, friend.
All right, talk to you later.
There he goes. Again, James Coleman. Of course, you can check out all of his work at Den Media Group. Of course, the former Florida State fullback, and he's on a whole other bunch of platforms that you can check him out. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want you guys to hear from Robert Hainsey in the Jaguars locker room, courtesy of Action Sports Jax, and much, much more. You are listening to Club 904 on a post-game winning victory edition Sunday right here on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 channel.
Welcome inside the Armor Guard exterior and gutter helmet showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as JAGS PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with JAGS PAL.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Connecticut reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 143257.
Welcome back into, oh, here she goes again. There we go. Welcome back into a live post-game edition of Club 904, syndicated on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 channel. Mia O'Brien, thanks again to James Coleman for hopping in the club with us. We had so much fun catching up with James that we're a little pressed for time, and so I promise we're going to empty the notebook. I'm going to get to your questions. That's why we just hit our lone mid-episode break just now. I want you guys to hear from Robert Hainsey, the Jaguars starting center, who, of course, was with Liam Coen in Tampa. We led off the show. We led off our conversation with James discussing perhaps the news and the biggest fallout following this game, besides the Jaguars moving to 3-1 for the first time since 2018, only the second time since 2007, with this post-game potential scuffle, words that may have been shared between Liam Coen and the San Francisco 49ers defense coordinator Robert Saleh. Here is Hainsey about the win, about the Jaguars moving forward in Duval under Liam Coen's leadership.
There's a saying, is it to do what you guys just did?
I mean, it's every time you win a game in the NFL, it's awesome. It's got to be celebrated. It's got to be coached afterwards, and we got so many things to clean up, but we're going to enjoy this one for sure because we were out there battling all phases.
You guys are playing a lot of physical games the last few weeks. I mean, that takes its toll, but you think you brought it again that way? Yeah, I think that's just, we've coming in with this new group, new people, everything was new here. It was a main point of emphasis to we're going to play violent, we're going to play physical. And when you do that, you have to play that way. You have to play every game that way. You have to play every snap that way. And so it does take a toll, and you feel it after, but games like this, it's worth it every time. Did you anticipate there being something after the game, or you were in the right place, right time around Coach Coen?
Right place, right time, just to have my guys back. I love Coach. I love Liam. He's fiery, he's emotional, and he cares a lot. So I'm glad I'm always going to have his back no matter what. Like, whatever he needs, we'll all be there for him.
How much are you guys feeding, or do you feel this team feeding off some of that edge that he has, where he's not afraid of that kind of stuff?
For sure. I think your head coach being that guy, and we hear it all week, and just the way he talks to us, and the way he talks about the game, his knowledge of the game, his attachment to this emotionally. Like I said, he cares immensely, and it's hard for a team to not feed off that and to not. Liam's a coach where you want to go play for him, and personally, I want to go win for him, and that's a great trait to have as a coach. And I think the way he carries himself and the way he coaches us, he earns that every week.
Let me ask you one more. This defense is playing out of its mind right now with the turnovers. What's that like, watching that each week so far. Each time they go out, it almost feels like they're going to get another one. Honestly, like, I cannot say enough good things about our defense. Camp and the whole group, I mean, they're unfreaking believable. And the way they've been playing is at an incredibly high standard. They've set that standard, and they're going to continue to get better and try to they're going to try to get more. They're going to try to get them every week. And as an offense, that's fantastic, and we got to keep capitalize more, take some off their plate as we continue to grow.
Our thanks to Brent Martineau, who is on his way back from San Francisco, from Santa Clara with the Jaguars for that interview. And, of course, Marcel Robinson. In case you missed it, you should check out at Action Sports Jax on Twitter. We tried with the technology to try to pull up the video, but it is now out. The Zapruder footage that Marcel got from the field at Levi's Stadium of the interaction between Robert Saleh, Liam Coen postgame. Like Liam Coen said, I will leave it in-house, and I will allow those of you who watch that video to have your own interpretation of exactly what went down. Also wanted to let you guys hear from Foye Oluokun. We'll do that here in just a second, but first let's hit some questions, because that's why we're here on a Sunday post game, is to interact with you guys. On YouTube, seen a couple of questions regarding the penalties. This one is from the Bringe of Rain, I believe. Yes. Why do they keep repeating the same pre-snap penalties 4 weeks now instead of being limited? It just keeps increasing every week. It's ridiculous. I agree with you. To be clear, this is a new offense, and I'm not making excuses for them, but ultimately this is a new offense that, as Mark Sanchez, of all people, eloquently noted on the broadcast, went from an offensive structure, for those who returned from last year's team, that ranked 32nd in pre-snap motion, to a team that is currently in the top 5 in pre-snap motion, let alone motion at the snap. And those tells and those signals that Robert Saleh was talking about that are borderline legal, yeah, that's what he's talking about. He just did not eloquently enunciate it. And so I think that it is, much like with Trevor Lawrence and some of the mishaps, this is a learning curve. This is a long-term play. At the same time, accountability is huge. That's why I will take accountability for a tweet I sent during the game when Trevor Lawrence got on Parker Washington for the 2-point conversion that did not get completed. And he was yelling and screaming at Parker Washington, who had just scored a punt return touchdown to put the Jaguars ahead for good. But he was obviously not happy with Parker on that play, and he was not in the right position. And I laughed because it does feel like when you see 16 get fired up, a lot of the times, whether it was that Monday night game against the Bengals or a handful of other times I know, but I can't think of right now off the top of my head, it's Parker Washington who unfortunately, when 16 is trying to hold someone accountable, it's 11 who bears the brunt of that. But while I was laughing at the irony of the player who has cemented this lead for you, not on the back of your offense, but on the back of your special teams, and now you're the one who's trying to hold him accountable, I actually appreciate that. And I bring it back to the penalties as this. At some point in time, it's great that a holding penalty, in the eyes of many at the Miller Electric Center, in some regards is an effort penalty. It's you're straining too much, and we need to coach your technique better. At some point in time, those perpetrators will need to be held accountable because it is directly affecting the team. The pre-snap penalties, like the illegal shift, the false starts, those are execution, and I do believe players are being held accountable for those behind the scenes. They are being reamed out. Maybe that's too strong of a word, but it's being brought to their attention. And at some point in time, maybe they do need to be reamed out if they haven't already. But I agree. The pre-snap penalties, it's difficult. Matt Jones asked if I'm a bandwagon Caitlin Clark fan. Dog, where have you been? Did you just join the show? Come on now. We've got this was on Twitter, and I want to make sure I give credit to this one. 0144. Devin Lloyd, Travis Etienne, Trayvon Walker. Do all 3 get signed to extensions? Speaking of tweets that I sent that rubbed some of you the wrong way, I noted that ultimately I thought that Devin Lloyd's performance over the last 4 weeks of the season, as I think my brother-in-law is now in the chat, man alive, we've got everybody in Club 904 on this Sunday night. Well, I tweeted out that Devin Lloyd, they should name the stadium after him and give him a blank check. Look, you can exaggerate, folks, sometimes. I apologize if that wasn't the journalistic, ethical take that some of you wanted, which is he was never going to be given the 5th-year option because of what the price tag is for the 5th-year option in the year of our Lord 2025 for an off-ball linebacker. But because he has now been unlocked in this system, who is to say that James Gladstone and company don't evaluate and say, maybe we do, much like the Philadelphia Eagles when they signed who many thought would be a journeyman after a lackluster start to his career with the New Orleans Saints, Zach Bond last offseason, and he was unlocked in Vic Fangio's defense. Who's to say that James Gladstone and company say, my goodness, look at Devin Lloyd, look at what he's been able to do. We need to sign him to an extension. I do think that will be the goal. I think he is higher in the pecking order to be given the franchise tag. As of now, through 4 weeks of the season, he is higher in the pecking order to be given the franchise tag comparatively to Travis Etienne, solely because of the position he plays, the duration of running backs' careers on average in the National Football League, even though I think Etienne has also proved, again, in a contract year. And I know Bubba on Twitter was roasting me, saying all these guys are doing it in a contract year. Well, 41's not in a contract year, and you just heard James Coleman say, and I know a lot of you out there trust James's opinion like gospel, that he thought 41 was still the best player on the field today. He whooped someone who many believe is the best left tackle, even in his mid-30s, in the National Football League on a consistent basis. And so that's not in a contract year. Who's to say you don't see Devin Lloyd perform, much like Zach Bond has performed since he got his payday in Philadelphia through 4 weeks of the 2025 season, the same next year in 2026. Before I ramble any further and defend Devin Lloyd, by the way, so I think the order will be 44 gets a contract extension beyond the 5th-year option, which was already picked up. I think that could happen in season, but I don't have any information on that. Obviously, we don't know James Gladstone to do in-season contracts because that has never been approached up to this point. But Trayvon Walker will have an extension on the table at some point here in the next 8 months. I believe Devin Lloyd is putting himself in a position to, at the very least, be tagged, if not extended. And then Travis Etienne is also doing the same, although ultimately I think the position is not going to, unless you get a deal done with Devin, and so you have the franchise tag at your disposal, then you're able to actually tag the Jaguars, now 5th-year running back. Let's hear from Foye Oluokun. Let's hear from one player on the defensive side of the ball. Again, this is courtesy of Brent and Marcel in the locker room in Santa Clara following the Jaguars' 26-21 win over the San Francisco 49ers.
I did it again, man. Thanks, man. The first 3, said, what the heck, let's go for 4 this time around, huh?
Yeah, it was cool. Started off with Dennis punching that ball out. We get clips of it every week, so everybody's got it on their mind. Obviously, we're seeing how it affects the game, so it's really cool when everybody forces a turnover. One guy gets it, but it's the whole defense, always having that mindset for the ball. And we all celebrated 11-1, so keep it going. They come in bunches, let's keep them bunches coming. We could really do something special here.
Overall, it looks like, how did you feel you did against McCaffrey and just tackling and all those things that you have to do against a team like that?
Yeah, it's a good run after catch team. They get the ball to their guys in space. It's really 11-1 playing defense on that type of team. Everybody kind of has to know their fits, know when you got to take a guy to the flat versus the leak plays. They always have a tight end leaking up the field. So it's really cool how we practice this week, being able to match all that. And then when they do dump the ball down, we got to hunt for it. And we did that, punt the ball out a couple times. It was cool. We can be cleaner though. Yeah.
I get it.
I'm looking at my boys. But no, keep going. I loved how we played today and just stuck to it, no matter the situation.
I get it's 11-1, but really needed 15 or 16. I mean, you guys had a bunch of guys going in and out of the game, yourself included. Yeah. How gratifying is that to see guys come in and fill in the role as well?
That's just good team camaraderie we got. It ain't no jealousy for real. A person come in the game, pick the person up, injury or whatever. I think we got a really deep defense. We can put rotations on it. As long as everybody know their assignment, I know we got a lot of talent. So seeing them not come in, not skip a beat, that's really uplifting. I always want to play, but sometimes you can't. And then come in and do things right, that's really cool to see.
I don't know if you saw Coach at the end, but I mean, he's got an edge to him. He's fiery. How much are you guys, your coach, and get into it with Saleh a little bit at the end?
Your coach, I got like 18.
Yeah, you're right. You do have a lot of them. I meant Liam.
Okay.
Did you see him get in a little bit salty a little bit at the end with Saleh? And how much edge does he kind of bring and help you guys? And are you breeding that? Kind of feeling off that, sorry.
I'm sorry. He want to be successful, and I like that he coming in with his edge. Younger coach, he want to prove that he like that as a coach. And I like what the offense is doing. I like that they're running the ball, like the way they throw it too. They're moving the ball this year, so I'm really happy with that. The defense giving them the ball back. Just proving that he's a winning coach. Coming in here, starting the year off right. That's just the first quarter, so we got 3 more quarters to go, but it's a good start. Like I said, stay ahead of the count instead of trying to get it back in the 4th quarter there. I like how we started, but we got to keep it going. We got a lot of teams coming in, and we got to go. I want to keep this going because, it takes a whole season to have a winning season, so that's just the start of it.
Again, our thanks to Foye Oluokun for joining the boys of Action Sports Jax. And if you are one of the 1,500 joining us just now, again, go check out at Action Sports Jax on Twitter because Marcel and Brent are posting a bunch of great stuff. Let's empty the notebook. Let's hit a couple last few questions before we get on out of here. Again, final score, your Jacksonville Jaguars 26, the San Francisco 49ers 21. Travis Hunter's final snap count, 37 snaps on offense, 9 on defense. Liam Coen said post-game as to why Travis Hunter played just 9 snaps on defense, that they would keep that in-house and that would be a personal decision that they would maybe share later. We will address that later. We will get to that later in the week, I am sure, with the Kansas City Chiefs coming to town and their offense clicking on all cylinders against the Baltimore Ravens today. I've seen a couple of you on YouTube who also wanted us to note, and we would be remiss if we didn't, the Colts loss, yes, Daniel, makes it all tied up in the AFC South as they fell to the Los Angeles Rams, also on the West Coast, and so the Jaguars and Colts tied at 3-1 for the lead in the AFC South. The Texans shut out the Titans. Shout out to my friend Louie in the chat. Missed you, Louie. Great to see you hanging out with us in Club 904 out in Nash Vegas. And yes, unfortunately, the Titans did not win. We may not see Brian Callahan on the sidelines when the Jaguars do finally play the Titans come November at the rate that they are currently going. Did want to note on special teams, shout out to Parker Washington on that punt return touchdown. Obviously, that's, the biggest sample size we have with, in terms of him hitting the hole. It's something I've been really critical of. I think on offense at the wide receiver position, he's performed admirably, if not exceptionally, given what our expectations were for the number 4 wide receiver in this system coming into the season. I've been concerned about him actually hitting the hole. There was even that one reverse that he took from Trevor Lawrence where it was the same problem. Be decisive, make a decision, plant your foot in the dirt and just get upfield. And I think you saw that creep up on that play in particular, but you didn't see it on the return duty, which was obviously encouraging. Logan Cook, 47.4 yards in net average. It's not where he wants it to be. I can tell you that. I think the coverage was better at times. The 2 in return, in particular on kickoff, and not to, go back to punt and then kick, but in terms of coverage, I think that that's also perhaps why we've looked at some of Logan Cook's punts and had questions, because I think there's been gaps in coverage. And the same can be said on kick return, although I thought it was Cam Little's best game in terms of kickoff duty. I know he missed a field goal, probably should have had an opportunity to kick another one in the first quarter, but that's a story for another time. And ultimately, I thought that with the dynamic kickoff rules, it was his best performance, and I thought the Jaguars coverage team reflected that. Now, LaQuint Allen going out of bounds and 10 yards in on his kickoff return. Then you had Christian Braswell, who was the gunner, and he was in the end zone on another play. You had Rayon Lane flagged for a penalty that I think was really bang, bang. So there's a lot to clean up there, which is crazy considering the expectation was that that would be the strength of this team. I expect them to continue to clean that part of the game up. Let's get out of here on this. Paul was one of the first people to get a question in Club 904 tonight. He said, what happens first, a game with no O-line penalties or a BTJ 100-yard game? I would say the latter, because Brian Thomas Jr., we didn't hit it with James, but we'll hit it now, finished with 5 catches on 7 targets. 1 was an overthrow. The other one, ultimately, I think it just came down to miscommunication with the quarterback, and they immediately looked at each other and said, nope, got to do this. Little nuances like that are going to come. It's the same as Trevor Lawrence, and this is why we're going to end on this. We need to look at this as, yes, a 3-1 start that many did not see coming. It's exciting in Jacksonville. You should all go out and buy tickets and be there at the Monday Night Football game against the Kansas City Chiefs with the Prowler throwbacks next Monday night. But at the same time, this is, to quote a former Jaguars head coach, this is not an overnight fix. And I think the same can be said with how they are rebuilding Brian Thomas Jr.'s confidence in the receiving game, his confidence with his quarterback. Again, you saw him confidently catching the ball today. He made catches that, well, yes, routine for a number 1 wide receiver, sure, he doesn't make a week ago. And in terms of, hey, it's a choice route, depending on the leverage, it's either a comeback or it's a go ball. That's going to come with time. Getting 2 feet in bounds, yes, you expect that from a number 1 wide receiver. I know it's disappointing. You didn't see it on that early catch. It would have gone for a first down. I believe you will see that in time, because much like Trevor Lawrence's progressions being tied to his footwork and the rebuilding of his process under Liam Coen, it may be the same thing with Brian Thomas Jr., but if it means success in the long term in addition to the short term, that's something we haven't seen in Duval in at least the 7 years I've been covering this team, if not the 25 years since the golden era. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Sunday postgame edition of Club 904. Be sure to like and subscribe to not only Action Sports Jax' various channels, but also you can subscribe to the O'Brien NFL Notebook. We've got tons of great scoops coming and, of course, opportunities for live Q&A podcasts, too. Until Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Got to say that since we've got some West Coast homies hanging out with us, we will catch you.
You can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.